Welcome to episode 14 of Booksmart and Lifetime. It is I'm your host. It's me. My name's Adam. We've been doing this for 14 episodes now. Can you believe it? What a week. What a week. What a week. And also what a week after this for me too. I'll mention it at the top of the episode this time. It's my birth month. My birthday is on the 25th of May. Which means I usually have some level of like a Memorial Weekend kind of like collaboration effort. I can't remember if it's ever led to making things more difficult for myself. I don't think it ever has. But I definitely know that just around my birthday, there's usually an easy day off for the people around me and sometimes myself, depending on where I was working. And that always kind of, I don't know, I guess that kind of helped. I don't plan things for myself for my birthday very often. I'm not very like muted and monotone around my birthday. What really does get me kind of in a bit of a spat, as it were, was gift reception. I'm not a big gift receiver kind of person. When I'm within my means and I can give gifts to people, that feels infinitely more rewarding than jotting down in a text message or a list somewhere what I want for Christmas or what I want for my birthday. It just never connects with me. And when it happens, I'm grateful in the moment, very happy and very thankful in the moment. But there's always something in the back of my head or like a twinge in like my chest that just feels like thank you. I don't know what to do about this. I don't know how I'm supposed to react. So I'm going to have a hard time reacting. And I'm praying that I'm giving you the reaction that you wanted to get out of this. I hope that I'm excruciatingly pleased and very thankful in this moment to you in a way that doesn't make you now feel awkward for having given me a gift that you may now feel like I didn't like. With that said, when it comes to gift reception, I'll always be thankful for any sort of gift that anybody does want to get me because that's just their way of thinking about me, right? They think that this is something that I would like and they put some level of thought into it. Something as small as a card. I can always enjoy a card. I can always enjoy the words on the inside of a card. Pre-written, not pre-written. But at the same time, it just always comes with this odd sensation of maybe it's unworthiness. I don't know. Oh, yeah. I don't know. Gifts are weird, man. Gifts are weird, but I love giving them. I love thinking about the people around me and the people in not just my innermost circle, but also my outermost circles. If I can find an opportunity to do something for somebody else, like buy them a video game or I see something on a shelf or something and I you take that moment, pause and be like, this person would extremely love to get this. I'm more likely than not will throw myself into some sort of momentary financial blech to do this for somebody. It happened yesterday. At work, we have a lot of leftover Mother's Day stuff. It's been about a week since Mother's Day. And I found a mug. Just says best mom ever. $10. I have a budget for myself when I purchase my own lunches at work though. And so I forewent any sort of purchase of lunch that day because I knew my mom would like it. And also, I can scrounge. I can usually put something together. If push ever came to shove when it comes to having food at work, which I need to have a structured, a semi-structured caloric intake, as we all should. I can usually toss something together and just make it happen and be a-okay. But yeah, I don't know. I like giving gifts. Some people it's hard. Some people it's not. And also it's hard to go searching. It'll never be on a daily to-do list for me, I don't think, where it's I have to buy gifts for X, Y, and Z. Because now I'm walking up and down the aisles of a store or several stores, honestly. And I'm sitting there making a tier list of everything I see. Or it's easier for me to get something, again, for my mother if I happen to be at Walmart already or something of the like. and I pass by the Lego sets and I see an Animal Crossing Lego set and I know how much she loves Animal Crossing, it's easy for me to see that and know that they will get delight out of it. Or like one of my closest friends getting him a pre-order of Forza Horizon 6, which launched midnight last night, by the way. Buying him the pre-order for that a couple months ago because knowing where my bills were at and what money I was saving, I could pull that off for someone who I figured might have a bit of a harder time getting it. I actually bought it for him several weeks before I was able to buy it for me. And I'm not looking for some sort of like, oh, wow, you're such a nice person. You're so selfless. It's just something really nice that I can do for my friends, for my acquaintances, for my family. I finished my first audiobook. I haven't really sat down and read a book in a couple of years. I think the last book I read was a rather thick graphic novel called Blankets. I was going through a very, very rough time in my life, and it was recommended to me by one of my friends. And I picked it up immediately. Very good coming of age kind of story. But this book that I want to say on impulse, I want to say I read, but I know I didn't read it. This book that I listened to, as narrated by the author, was a book called Paddle Your Own Canoe by Nick Offerman. It was like a 10 hours and 45 minute long read or listen. Man, what are the terminologies for an audiobook? Is it still listening? Is it reading? Do you make it akin to reading a book, even though you're just listening to a book? Or do you treat it like a podcast where you say like, I caught up on my listening? Audiobooks are fun though. It's interesting because I'm just realizing now as I'm talking about it aloud that audiobooks are the adult version of someone else reading you a story, which is also something that, I mean, it's pretty normalized. I mean, obviously you get a bedtime story to a child, but also like authors go out on like book tours and read excerpts from their books, or they read a chapter or something like that. I thought this was a fantastic read, more so back on the book itself, or God damn it, or a fantastic listen. This is something I'm going to have to like work through, and I'm going to eventually not even catch myself saying what a fantastic read this audiobook was. Bear with me, or honestly keep track at home. But I digress. What a fantastic read. God, no! I did it again. What a fantastic listen. Paddle Your Own Canoe by Nick Offerman was. To briefly kind of surmise what the book is without like giving away what it is, it's a biopic. It's a biopic, one of the two. However you pronounce that. Basically just describing his own life and his own upbringings and what that meant to where he is now. Honestly, a lot of like fantastic like opinions on kind of where like he measures up against society during those kinds of portions in his life. Not definitely something for like you to like take and like adjust your moral compass because you heard it for, but it gave me like, for instance, different points of views to consider things like religion, or just like where somebody else grew up in a different part of the country in a different time and how that measures up to when and where I grew up in the United States, right? And even then, just the dumb luck that this man has had in his life, and he admits it himself. It's not like a jab or anything. Transitioning from being really heavy in the theater scene in the Midwest into trying to become an actor in LA, and the friendships he's made therein, and so on and so forth, is also a fantastic story all on its own, with the intermingling and interspersing of how he lives life and how he adjusts and keeps himself centered. A lot of outdoorsy stuff, a lot of talk about woodworking. I will say he does get into the weeds about woodworking often, but I do feel like it's supplemental to how he is describing what he's doing. You get into the specificities of certain things, but it also lends the reader / listener to use the theater of their own minds to honestly kind of immerse themselves in the book. It was a fantastic listen. I have been kind of chirping about with the patrons about wanting to do an actual book club for Booksmart. We'll just call it Booksmart Book Club. If it's something you guys would be interested in for like supplemental content or something like that, I could always try and deep dive and actually start to like take notes on the books that I'm listening to. I started The Martian, but I'm learning how important it is to have narrators that fit your audio tastes, I guess. I think Will Wheaton is a fantastic individual in the work that he does. As a narrator, just not for me. It's just not for me. So maybe I'll pick up a physical copy of The Martian because I've watched that movie 7 or 8 times. And it's a really good movie with some really awesome storytelling in there. So much so that I do want to go back and read the book. So instead of doing The Martian next, though, I'm actually going to go ahead and listen to Project Hail Mary, which is written by the same author, Mr. Andy Weir. I'll probably start that tomorrow when I'm in at work. Speaking of work, as far as things that have happened throughout the week, finished that audiobook, also thinking about birthday plans coming up. Oh, actually, the whole reason I wanted to bring up birthday plans, not because I wanted to have a 7-minute tangent about my thoughts on gift reception, was actually because I will be out of town next weekend, which means that I'm going to be waking up a smidgen early. I'm still going to push Booksmart Lifetime for Patreon and also scheduling the episode out for folks to have on Monday. Unfortunately, this trip does occur directly on Friday, and I get back on Monday, which means that I have to do an episode from start to finish in one entire session, which by all means, it sounds a lot more of like a tumultuous task than it actually is. However, I still got to do it, which means I might be a bit more groggy next week, might be a bit more morning guy next week. I definitely am going to pay a bit more attention to my notebook over next week so that it can guide me along through the episode and try to control the ramblings and throw a lasso around them and wrangle them down, you know? So we'll see. We'll see how that shakes out. Maybe I'll learn that my book is a lot more important than it actually is. But I don't know, as far as like concepts and things I was noticing throughout my day, I think one thing that stood out to me over the course of the past week was how important it is, especially as I'm getting older, to have things like refreshers throughout the day. These are simple things. They are splashing some water on your face midway through the day. They're stepping outside, especially with the weather getting so much nicer. And also something I just don't think people do, or at least people don't talk about. I work a job where I walk about 20,000 steps in a shift. My job occurs in a large warehouse where I am picking items up from different aisles and then packaging these different items, as well as, deconstructing pallets and pallets of stuff throughout my day between orders. So I do a lot of walking. I've adjusted my watch fitness scores accordingly. I try to burn 1,000 calories just by being at work every day. Trying to pay a lot more attention to caloric out as well as in. So I started wearing my watch again. I need to change up my the band on it though, because I had like a metal magnetic one, but in a fast moving environment that has been very irritating. I think I'll just wear the original rubber one that came on it. One thing I noticed that people don't talk about, and it's very prevalent because of where I work and how I work, is adjusting one's shoelaces. And I don't think anybody talks about this, or at least I haven't had anybody like reference it to me. My friend, bro, my dude, and dudettes, my guys, gals, and non-binary pals, let me tell you about the secret to feeling comfortable on your feet. Oh my God. Adjust your shoelaces. If you don't have shoelaces, adjust the rubber band that intersperses back and forth on your athletic shoe or your walking shoe or what have you. Most shoes that are meant for more than a leisure walk in the park or around the house, like a loafer, have some sort of restraining or holding thing on them. It's laces, it could be Velcro, it could be the rubber thing. My shoes, I never felt like were exactly tight enough. They felt like they were never going to fly off of my feet. I never felt like there was some level of give in the shoe when I would take a step where I would slide a little bit in the sole. However, they never felt 100%. I felt like I was walking on a solid 95% comfortability. I wear shoes that do not have laces. I wear shoes that have the rubber band weaving back and forth across the top of the shoe. When I tell you that I took that band that was at the topmost rung, I took it and I stretched it out to make the shoe tighter. And then to prevent it from loosening again, I took that and I brought it all the way to the back of the shoe behind where my ankle would go. I never felt more secure in my walking in my life, at least in recent memory. And it made me realize that I've been doing this all wrong my whole life, with laces, without laces, etc. I know this is probably not the reason you listen to this podcast, but I'm telling you right now, man, if you would just take your finger underneath every crossing of your rubber or laces, what have you, and you just pull up on it, starting from the front all the way to the back of the shoe to help keep those areas tight and then readjust your knots. A lot of athletic shoes also have different places on where your laces are supposed to go, depending on, how your ankle / heel / foot situation is. Try out some different stuff, man. Because if you find that you're working on your feet and you find that you're being worn out or you're being bothered by something, if you can eliminate that little thing in the back of your head that starts to crop up about how you're walking, and you can return walking to this autonomous activity that feels natural, boy howdy, my day has improved so much so that I wanted to dedicate time on my solo podcast to talk about it every week with you guys. And also on top of that, I start my day, the building isn't hot, but I will say the temperature control situation is ass. On days where it's cooler outside, the heater might overwork itself, and then it starts to warm up throughout the day, but then the central air will not adjust with it. So now it's a warm outside and it's remaining warm inside. Taking my glasses off and just splashing water on my face really resets my day. It's honestly how I start my days. Helps me wake up. Just getting water, just splashing it, rubbing your face down, getting your day going. Huge. And of course, man, listen, we work and we live very much indoors these days. If you're listening to this podcast, you are someone who is adjacent to my lifestyle, or someone who surrounds me personally in my life, or you stumbled upon this naturally on your own, and kudos to you. Welcome. There are many avenues in which we can all hang out and chat. But for the most part, a lot of indoor dwellers. And with that, it comes the lack of the sun, the fresh air, etc. If I worked from home, which I have before in the past during the pandemic, or I guess rather the lockdown. The pandemic was longer than the lockdown, but I digress. As I worked indoors, I started that lockdown in my room that I was renting out for, honestly, a week and a half straight. The quick run to the restroom and the quick run to the kitchen were the only things I did outside of sitting at my desk or sleeping in my bed. Whether or not I was working, I was still sitting away from everything that sat outside and everything that the outdoors had to offer. The weather's getting nicer out there, folks. The weather is getting a lot better out there. Consider yourself 15 minutes to go out and just enjoy the wind blowing, the sun shining, the occasional cloud. Hell, if it's drizzling outside, go feel what that feels like. It's refreshing, man. And as I realized my problem after a week and a half and how ghoulish I felt and how skeletized I felt like I was becoming, living in my own digital tomb, I started to take a little more time to enjoy what the outside has to offer. I have a skateboard, and so I would just take it and I would just go leisurely ride around my neighborhood. I never could do tricks or anything. I was never like on the half pipe or anything like that, but I always enjoyed a skateboard as a mode of transportation, especially in the town that I grew up in, which was only 2 square miles. Yeah, the roads were a little rough, but you get yourself on a longboard with those fat tires on it, and it felt like I was riding on glass. It was great. And so I took that and I did that a couple of times just to make sure I was getting outside. I mean, nowadays I'm here in my office, in my apartment, and then I'm also there at work in a warehouse. I will take every break that I get at work and I will spend at least half of that time outside because it's usually a little bit less dusty. For one, it's a very dusty warehouse. And on any day that I have the opportunity, I start sweeping and wiping down things to try and help bring down our dust level. But it also appears that I'm the only person interested in our air quality in there. So, bit of an uphill battle, but I digress. Outside for at least half of my breaks. It's not something I'm like structuring. It's just that's just how it usually shakes out. Two, I just drive with the windows down, man. I drive with my windows down on my commutes to and from work, especially with the weather and how it's been. Very nice. And three, the sun is out there, man. You need vitamin D. You get it from the sun. A lack of vitamin D has effects on your mental wherewithal, your ability to feel happy, your ability to feel clear-minded. To combat this, I do have some vitamin D supplements. I'm also taking magnesium. I'm on potassium. I'm on like it's like a newfangled drug. Taking potassium, magnesium, vitamin D, and on travel days because I don't want to take all that stuff, I have a multivitamin, just a 1-a-day multivitamin. Because I recognize the life I live. I recognize what I do. And you know what? I also recognize that some days are easier than others mentally for me, but some days are rough. Yesterday was a rough day for me because I just couldn't get my sugar right. And so I just started talking to people. I started texting people and I started begging kind of with myself for a way for me to finally like take a break from being me because it sucks on days like that. I enjoy who I am because of the people I surround myself with. I enjoy who I am because of my unique tastes and interests, and I make sure to fulfill the need to be creative, right? But there are some days where I have the hand of being dealt by life, and I see the other cards on the table that I'm stacked against, and my hand has no viable options. And unfortunately, like a game of poker, I can't put on a straight face and make everyone else believe that I have the best hand here. Very much a vocal person about how difficult my life can be to me sometimes. I don't like to hide that because I don't want everyone to just assume that I'm okay all the time. I don't want people to assume that I'm not okay all the time either. I just want them to feel like I'm actually communicating how I feel so that they know how to approach conversation with me or react to something I'm saying, anything like that. Which leads me to my fourth point on how to have a refresher throughout the day. To take a second anytime you feel frustrated or anytime you feel stuck or anytime you feel like everything's mundane. Take a second and broaden your horizon on the overall everything that's going on. Don't get caught in the moment and how bad the moment can be or how frustrating the moment is. Do not allow yourself to tunnel vision on the thing that is frustrating you. Open that tunnel up, take a look at the bigger picture, and realize that what you're dealing with right now is just a speck in a moment in time, and time is ever vast. The canvas that you paint is so much bigger than a singular stroke of a brush. Put that on a shirt. Put that on a mug. My 4 tips. I think I said there was only 3. I'll be honest with you. I came up with the 4th one off the dome. And that whole thing about the canvas, I just came up with. That's crazy. That is crazy. I'm gonna write that down in the book. I don't know how to spell broaden. I had 4 topics written down. I got through 3 of them. Here's your 4th topic. Forza Horizon 6 launched last night for everybody that pre-ordered the game at the $120 version of it. I hope you're all enjoying it. I'll be playing it on Tuesday when it comes out for everybody. I don't know, man. I love me some racing games. I love me some simulated racing. It's a great time. It's a great time. I'll probably have more to talk about next week. I don't know. I don't try to focus this podcast on video games and stuff. I have so many other avenues out there where we can talk about video games, and those conversations can last for hours, right? But to talk about the industry as a medium and as a conversational piece, that's what I like to do here. That's what I like to do here. I will put that check mark in my book. Patreon guys and gals, you shall see the notes. I post the notes on Patreon, by the way. You guys ever wondered what the book looks like in the book Smart Life Dumb? I do upload my show notes every week on Patreon, and patreon.com/bookdumb is where you can find it, as well as finding this on Mondays on Spotify and YouTube. Make sure you're actually following, by the way. Make sure you're actually following the podcast on Spotify. Make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel. All that good jazz. It helps me out a lot. And all the support as of late, and all the little updates I get on my Spotify for creators stuff on my phone. It really does my heart a lot of good. Every little interaction, every little milestone we hit, etc. It's a little dopamine boost that I need every single time. If you guys are going to be listening to Show episode 13, either right after this or the live episode on Saturday nights, boy howdy do I have a story for you about how I got locked in a freezer at work. But until then, I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.